If you use this landing gear, you'll find that it's exactly the perfect width to fit in here. Problem is, these little screws stick out the side, so you have to make a little groove down the inside. And the easiest way I found to do that, see the screws stick down, you have to make a groove so this will go in, otherwise it won't go in. The easiest way I found to do that is you turn this thing upside down, you set it in here, line it up just perfectly so when you're sighting down the side, you can see that it's right in the center. Take it, hold it down, make yourself a little mark where the screw holes are. Take it off, and then follow the lines out, because where these screw holes are the same places that you need to make the groove. See the screw hole, the groove? So draw your lines out from that hole, then just look down the inside and make yourself a black line on all of these. So, grooves for the screws, grooves for the big hose, grooves, more grooves. I just crack this up, glue it back down when I'm done. Fits in there. It's all pretty. Now for the nose strut, I had to do a little bit of grinding on the fiberglass. You see where the steering arm sticks out on the sides? When it folds up, it actually folds below the level of the fuselage. So I had to route out a little groove for these arms to stick down into on both sides. And also these cables, when it folds down in there, they fold in with the arm, so you have to make sure you route a little groove behind it. Also, when you get done, take and smooth it off with sandpaper. And also I'm going to take a little bit of high sol, and I'm going to make a little tiny bead of high sol right along the edge, that little rough edge, so that it softens the edge up so that the strap won't get caught on it. Now, see how I wove in the pull cable? It actually weaves around and goes through with no clevis on it. If you were to put a clevis or some sort of cleat right here, when it folds down, it would get caught in there. With it being woven through, it doesn't get caught. I took my servo for my pull steering and made myself a bracket on both sides. High soled them in. That's right in the front of this first safety strut here, whatever you want to call it, piece of the fuselage. So down inside, I took a piece of balsa, some of that hard balsa, and high soled it in here and over here. So that way my pull servo is upside down and it's as low as I can possibly get it. And then the pull runs straight out to the nose wheel. Get yourself a tie wrap, cut the ends off, and what it's going to do is it's going to fold in half like that. And you'll hook it on, one onto each side of the pull wire, so when the nose wheel folds up and it gets slack, it pops open. There's very little pressure here to mess with your steering. It's just enough that it pops open and keeps your cables apart. Being that I cut my struts short, I had to fill in the wheel well. So easiest way to do that was I just took some 1-inch strips of very thin balsa, or soft balsa, and took and cut the monocoat out around the hole to give myself something to work with. And then took those 1-inch strips and lined them up. It was very easy to cut with a pair of scissors. And then just took some CA, just a little bead of CA around there, and it held perfectly. And then just some more 1-inch strips, cut them, filled in with CA until I was completely across. And then I just took CA, once I was done, and ran, I just flowed CA across the whole thing and made it nice and firm. That's all I needed to do. Now to cut the new hole, take and tilt your strut forward, draw yourself a hole. And because it's at an angle when it touches, you actually need to mark the new spot for the center just a little bit off center of the hole. So that's your new center. Then you want to buy yourself a 2 3/4 inch hole saw. Get yourself a piece of sturdy plywood and cut yourself a piece of template with that hole saw. Tape it down centered on that X. Now you've got the template to hold the saw. You want to make sure you take and be very careful because you're drilling in balsa wood. So I'm just barely pushing down, very, very lightly. Otherwise you'll go through the whole wing. There you go. When these things go flat in there, the tire hits this strut right here. Rubs right against that. So it goes down, and I'm afraid that it's going to lock up when it pulls tight. So the options I have are to shave the tire or to shave that. I don't want to do either one. So I found that if you take and put washers right under the edge right here, it tilts it up just a little bit, like that. And then when you go down, it's sticking up a little bit, but the tire can spin freely. So that works really good. It's quick and easy.